with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Loosemore.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that's Let's Talk Football. And it's Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. So you know who I'm with. I'm with my guy, Mr. Michigan himself, Alex Loosemore. What up, Alex?
Not too much, man. Excited to get a chance to talk about these games that happened this past Saturday. A couple massive ones. And give us a chance to talk about our teams a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give you a more in-depth look. I know, Alex, you're off Friday, so I'm going to try to steal you for some time on Friday so we can kind of break some of this stuff down. But we did want to touch on our teams, like Alex alluded to. But if any of y'all are watching college football last week, there was only one game that a lot of you were focused on. We were to Georgia versus Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Alex, I mean, look, we expected a great game, and at the end of at halftime, it was like, did we get cheated? But no, the second half definitely was played. Bama pulls the W, 41-34. But I mean, talk to me about this, man. Back and forth in second half, amazing. Like, what were your thoughts? I think he froze. Wait till he gets back. Look, Georgia came into this game, had only lost two prior matchups. They lost to Bama, the only team that they had lost to. So this was big on them. Glad they were able to get in here. But look, the game started off as a big tier matchup. I think I got my buddy back. Yep. What's up? There you go. There you see. You saw your face still up there.
Yeah.
Yo, talk to us about this game, man.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I missed the first, basically the first quarter of this game. But I was like, oh, let me check the score real quick. Just realized what time it was. I was like, oh, this game's on. And I saw Bama up 14-0, 21-0, whatever it was there. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And it was insane. At the start, Alabama was just having their way with Georgia, doing whatever they wanted. Mm-hmm. Milroe looked amazing. The defense looked amazing. They were able to stop the run, which Georgia likes to do a lot. They've gotten real good at it, being up plenty for the last 3 years on plenty of teams. Everybody except Bama. It was insane to see everything going their way. The turnover battle, the scoring, the rushing, the passing, everything was heavy Alabama. And then halftime comes, and this is why Kirby Smart's one of the best coaches of this era, is they went in, they made the adjustments. I would love to hear what that halftime speech was, because he was throwing stuff, yelling, I guarantee it. And they came out like it was the last game they'd get to play. That performance by Georgia in the second half was wild. And just that sequence in the last 5 minutes where it was touchdown. I was just oh my God. Yep. That felt like a playoff game, like a national championship type game.
It did. Absolutely.
Amazing game. Probably the best game we'll see this year, realistically, as far as just the whole ebbs and flows of college football within a game. Amazing watch. This is one where if you're trying to introduce somebody to college football, you show them this game, because my God, what a game.
Absolutely. The atmosphere was ripe. I mean, everybody was in it. You had Georgia, you had Bama, you had the history, you know what I mean, between these two. And for those of you that don't know, I think it was Georgia was 42-0 against every other team over the last 2 or 3 years in college football. And then they're 0-3 against Alabama in the regular season, because they got the one win over Bama in the national championship in 2021, I believe. So, Bama was definitely there. They were definitely that monkey. They couldn't get off their back. But look, when you look at this game, and to your point, Bama jumps out to this huge lead. It's 21-0 at the half. They go in, it's 30-7. And for those people that are, have been tortured by Georgia all of these years, I know there's a bunch of people that were hooting and hollering, oh my God, look at this, look at this. But even at that point, you're like, Georgia's not this bad. You know what I mean? And shout out to Alabama's game plan and how they were able to get them, because what have we said all year? If you're gonna get to Georgia, you have to be able to run the ball on them. They were able to do that. They limited the run game. They, Carson Beck in the first half was just staring receivers down.
He was awful in the first half.
He was terrible. He really was. And I mean, me and you were having conversations. I know our other Georgia fans were. Heisman was getting thrown around this and left and right. And people are saying, is this your Heisman type deal? But to your point, Kirby said something in that locker room. And I would love to know, just like you, what he said, because this is not familiar. It's one thing if you've been down before multiple times. Georgia hasn't really been down over the last several years, especially not this bad. So what do you say to a team that's been used to winning, and they finally, they have to come up against their rival? Whatever he said, they totally turned it around. And to your point, in the second half, we'll talk about this later. In the first half, you go into halftime and everybody's saying, where's the Heisman Trophy? Hand it to Milroe. Give it to this guy. He plays butt off. But then you see the comeback. And I mean, Georgia comes back, and it would have been, I think, their biggest comeback of all time was 28 points, and it would have been a 35.
Would have been the biggest comeback in a top 10 matchup.
Yeah.
Ever.
So talk about that. I mean, you come all the way back, and some of us that might be feel some way about some Georgia fans and some Georgia we're a little chirpy. I will admit I have some words, but I told you, I said, this is it. This is why I don't say anything, because the comeback happened. But I mean, take a look at that. We know about, sometimes a team can, we're up big so we can coast, but still you got to play. Georgia balled out, and Bama seemingly maybe mailed it in, man. What do you thought?
I don't really think it was as much Bama mailing it in as Georgia kind of just figuring them out.
Yeah.
I think it was less of what Bama was doing and more of what Georgia did at the half, because it seemed like Bama coming in knowing Georgia's weaknesses, the outside run, you can kill them all day out there, you can gash them. Milroe's speed, obviously, and they connected on a few deep pass plays. And then I think at the half you started to see Georgia took that 15 minutes to really be like, okay, what is Alabama's weakness? And it's that secondary and that deep pass game. And you just had to unload. Carson Beck had to take some more shots. And I think it was something of, I heard on yesterday, I think it was like 15-ish attempts of 20 or more yards by Carson Beck on Saturday. Yeah. I think it was like 12 of them came in the second half.
Oh, yeah.
So you really started to see them unload, air it out, and then they started to take advantage of that Alabama secondary and started to claw their way back in. Yeah. And the last thing I want to say about that second half is it's really great to see on both sides. Georgia, you got punched in the mouth early, and they didn't turn on each other. They just stuck it out, said, we're not out of this yet, and climbed all the way back in. And it's funny with the group chat, it was like, are we going to see some emotion out of Carson Beck? I loved that he didn't show emotion until they were like right back in it. Yes. I love that the quarterback's that cool, calm composure, and the rest of the guys rallied around that and they climbed back in. And for Alabama, it was great to see that when Georgia started punching them in the mouth and climbing all the way back, that they didn't turn on each other. They just said, okay, we still got the lead. We still got this. Let's go finish this off. And Milroe as well, that composure, that calmness, that he didn't look flustered at all in this game. No. Under those lights, that stage, he was cool as a cucumber. It was awesome to watch both these teams in that mental dynamic.
Oh, yeah. You talk about the bright lights, man. And we, like I alluded to earlier, you can pick these two quarterbacks out. You wanted to see how they would perform on the big stage. Well, there you had it. I mean, Jalen Milroe, obviously over 300 passing, almost 400, and over 100 yards on the ground, 4 total touchdowns. You got Beck balling out in his own right, over 400 yards passing. Unfortunately, those 3 turnovers in the first half hurt him, but to his credit, he got them back in the game. But I think I would be a fool if I did not say that what caught our attention in this game was a 17-year-old freshman named Ryan Williams. 6 catches, 170 times. I know we had talked about him. And there's another guy at Ohio State, and you don't like to mention, but you
Jeremiah Smith,
yeah. But this guy literally should be in high school right now, and on the brightest lights in the biggest stage, has one of the games of his life, man. What are your thoughts about this guy?
What a freaking performance! This guy did it all. The deep routes, those shorter routes, that touchdown that won them the game, where it goes off his hand, flies like 10, 15 feet in the air, and he tracks it down and catches it while there's 2 DBs on him. Just very few people are going to have a performance like that ever. Mm-hmm. And he did it at 17 years old in Tuscaloosa, national television versus Georgia. Insane. And that's that mental toughness again. To be 17 years old, going against some guys that are 21, 22, hell, even some are 23. And you're in there and you realize that you are that dude. You can hang your own against these guys. Mm-hmm. What a performance by Ryan Williams.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's on everybody's radar. And, hey, we're happy to see it. Both these teams have tough schedules down the line. So this game, look, if we get this performance from each of these 2 teams the rest of the way, it's going to be hard to see anybody beating them. So we'll definitely see what happens down the way. But, look, we're going to talk about our teams as well. I will start for you first, ladies and gentlemen. I know it looks like I've been hiding, ducking and dodging. No, I am still here. For those of you that don't know, the last time we talked, it was that Saturday of the JMU game. And I said, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I didn't expect to get put 70 on. Okay. What? Oh my God. So shout out to JMU, and I will say this, JMU then put up 63 on Ball State the following week, so whatever they're doing, just like South Alabama those 2 weeks, whatever they're doing is working. But I do want to shout out our guys, man. I got to shout out Omarion Hampton, 658 yards on the ground, still elite. We talked about him and Ollie Gordon. Unfortunately, Ollie, he had about 70, 80 yards this past game, but, he hasn't been the bell cow that we thought he was going to be for Oklahoma State. But with all of the situations in UNC with, Max Johnson going out early, Connor Harrell playing kind of suspect, and then bringing in Jacoby Criswell, we have really been able to rely on Omarion Hampton. So shout out to him. But also Jacoby Criswell, man. He came in, got recruited, and was here the same time Drake May was here. So obviously he was on the bench for those couple years, transferred out, try to get a little play time, but then came back, was put back on the bench, third behind Connor Harrell and behind Max Johnson. For whatever way, shape, or form, he was able to get back in there. I think in the middle of the end of the Charlotte game, played good. And what gets lost in that 70-50 ball game against JMU is the performance that he had. He kept us together. You talk about poise. You talk about not cracking in that pressure. We saw the score. It was 53-21 at halftime, so it wouldn't have been difficult to crack at that point. But it was good to see him kind of work it out and work together. Going down the line, I didn't expect us to lose this one to Duke. We were up 20-0 at halftime.
That was a shocker.
There's a lot of questions that definitely need to be asked going down. We got Georgia Tech, UVA, an FSU team that I'm no longer scared about, Wake Forest, BC, and NC State down the line. So, again, ACC schedule, favorable schedule, but you got to put some wins together. If we're going to start marching towards, if at all the ACC championship or even some kind of playoff contention, we cannot afford to lose anymore. We're 3-2 right now. So let's see what we got. Pittsburgh's another one that's on the way actually this weekend, and they're undefeated. So could be a big win for us, man. So we'll see what happens. Your guys, Michigan. Did you find a quarterback?
No, but we settled on one.
There we go. There we go. So talk to me about your guys, man.
It's interesting to watch this team. It really is, because it kind of feels like a team from like the early 1900s that you threw into today's game.
Yep.
Because I think combined Alex Orji's 2 games here, Jalen Milroe had more passing yards in the first quarter against Georgia than Orji has in 2 games. It's that bad.
Oh, man.
And it doesn't really seem like we can put long drives together right now. It's a lot of big runs from Kalel Mullings, big run from Donovan Edwards. Like, there's no real, like, 10, 15 play drives that eat 6-7 minutes off the clock like the past few years. It's a lot of just like beating the head against the wall, and then all of a sudden one breaks. And I mean, this defense is still elite. I don't know what the hell happened in the fourth quarter last week. And also we got bailed out because that Minnesota player was not offside. I will argue that we got bailed out on that onside kick. I will not hide from that. But again, like Will Johnson and a few of those guys weren't playing on the defense. But this is really a team this year that if you get up more than like a touchdown, it's pretty much wraps like this until we find some sort of passing game. And Orji looked much better this week in the passing game than he did last week. There were a few of those like 3-step drops hit the guy on like the timing routes that he did fairly well. I mean, there were still a few boneheaded ones that he missed, but it seemed like a perfect game up until he threw the interception, and then the team just kind of fell apart. So if this team's playing complementary football, I think they can hold their own against almost anybody. But if you get up 10 or more, it's over.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, your defense keeps you in the game. Shout out to Will Johnson. Hopefully he can get back and get healthy. But as long as the run game is working and that defense can keep you in, help you out with a little turnovers, and the refs helping, hey, listen, sometimes you got to take what they give you. I didn't make the call. They made it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, who do you guys have next? You guys are ranked 12.
Washington on the road for the first time this year. National championship rematch.
Ooh, this should be nice.
We're now underdogs going into this game.
Really?
Washington minus 2.5.
Ooh, okay. Both teams are definitely nowhere near the teams that they were last year. Obviously, a lot of players went to the league from these teams. And if I'm not mistaken, Washington just suffered a loss to Rutgers. It was like 21-18. Shout out to Rutgers, 4-0.
Yeah, they're a good team this year.
All right, Jersey, I see what y'all doing out there. All right, man. So, hey, we're going to be watching and following our teams down the stretch to see what happens. 1 loss for you guys, 2 losses for us. We'll see. The more JMU wins, the happier we'll be. That's all I can say right now. That's all I can say. But look, going into this week, everybody has been talking about it. It's week 6. We've seen enough football, Alex. We've watched it. We've had the picks earlier in the year. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let me see if I still got this video. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Heisman Watch.
With team success comes individual success. So without y'all,
we wouldn't be anything. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to take a look at our early Heisman Trophy list. We know it is very early on, but there are some names that are starting to separate themselves from the pack. Alex, what is your early Heisman Trophy list?
So I got a top 5 here. For me, at number 5 is my favorite from a few weeks ago, Quinn Ewers. I think I'm still throwing him in here because when he gets back, when he gets healthy, which might be this week, might be next week, sounds like he's getting the job right back.
Yeah.
And he's going to have that Georgia game potentially right there. Like, there's going to be a couple massive games down the line that can help him rebuild that resume. So I'm putting him there. Number 4 flies up the list for me because of this past Saturday. Jalen Milroe gets in.
Yeah.
And again, he's got a couple big ones here: Tennessee, Missouri, Oklahoma, LSU. He's got a chance to build a great resume here, so I'm throwing him in there. A couple non-quarterbacks here at 3 and 2. Travis Hunter for me. He absolutely deserves to be in New York in December for this trophy presentation. Whether or not he wins it will depend on if he can keep this up, because they've got a couple big games too. I think they got Kansas State coming off the bye next weekend.
Yeah.
And then they still have Utah. They still have Oklahoma State. There's still a lot to play for there for Colorado. If he can stay healthy and play both corner and wide receiver, we could see the first guy to do that since Charles Woodson to get the Heisman potentially. Number 2, if it wasn't an award that constantly goes to quarterback, this guy would be far and away my number 1, Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This guy's averaging like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns a game so far this year. Absolute animal. This is the first time in a while where I'm like, Barry Sanders' college record might get broken here.
Yes.
This guy is that
I thought about
good.
that. Yeah.
So keep an eye on that record there. It might be going to Ashton Genty, and he might be playing himself into the first round of next year's draft the way he's going. This guy is balling out. But number 1 for me, it seems to be a quarterback award year in and year out. Cam Ward's still, to me, the best quarterback. He's been playing better than anybody so far this year. Had a bit of a tough game against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's a good team, so I don't knock him that much. But to me, he's still my Heisman frontrunner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, man. So with me, kind of the same people, maybe 1 or 2 different. And one of the only difference is Quinn Ewers is at my 6 just because he has not been on the field the last couple weeks. But to your point, as soon as he gets back in there, he's definitely going to shoot up the list because we already know what he brings to the table. So my number 5 is Luther Burden. Talked about him last year. We already know he's going to be up on the draft board next year. So, and he's been helped. He is one of the reasons why Missouri is relevant and winning, doing as well as they have. So shout out to him. My number 4, and this is because of only because of the people who are ahead of them. It's Ashton Genty. I know you got him up higher than that. I love that. I want to put him up higher, but the fact that he's at Boise State, the fact that he's in the Mountain West, I don't, that might not bode well for him, but I love that. If he could continue on this path, 845 yards thus far in the season after 4 games. Yeah. If he can continue this, we have to throw him into New York. He has to be in that list because what he's doing is not easy, and against Oregon, against big names, some solid teams.
It don't matter who you're playing and putting up those kind of numbers.
Thank you. That's video. I can't even do that in NCAA 25, and believe me, I've tried. I've tried.
Yep.
My number 3 for me, it is Cam Ward. And I love everything that he's doing this year. The fact that he was able to come over to Miami and he's truly elevated that team. So now they're in the national spotlight. They're in that conversation of if they can win the ACC and get to the CFP. So as long as he's there, they have an opportunity. I have to throw him there. My number 2 is Travis Hunter. And this is just an opinion. This is just me. What he's doing on offense and defense, the amount of plays he has, and the fact that he's having success on both sides is otherworldly.
Success.
Thank you. Right. You know what I mean? Like just the fact that he has the stamina to play both ways says something. But then the fact that he is playing at a top level, amazing, man. So you have to be on this list, and he can definitely jump up. But for me, biggest game. All the lights on. The former president was there. Everybody's watching this game, and you show up, Jalen Milroe, to have the first half that he had, but then also withstand that second half. And still, when it came time, let's go. Let's get. And they put the ball in his hands, and he took care of business. So if I can throw a little help, I would throw some Ryan Williams, but I'm not going to jump off the deep end. Jeremiah Smith on there just yet. But definitely take a look at them. But yeah, Jalen Milroe for me is my number 1 up there. But Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, those two guys, I definitely see them moving up the list. And hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But look, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all sticking here with us for our quick little short show. College football is back. Not only is back, I mean, Alex, man, we're knee deep in it, man. It's October 1st, man.
We're getting close. We're a third of the way through the season already, the regular season after this weekend. So we are well into college football now.
Oh, absolutely, man. So hey, look, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be hitting you with all the college football news and notes that we are gonna talk about. So stay tuned for what we got on the agenda. For my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore, it is your boy Sean Spencer. We will see y'all next time on College Football Update. Peace, people. And peace again.
College Football Update with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Loosemore.